You are listening to episode 257 of Game Deflators Podcast. My name's John, and I'm joined by Ryan.
Hey, everybody, here at the Game Deflators Podcast, we like to talk about games. We've recently picked up games we're currently playing, and we're ready to suffer like G did in this week's Inflation Deflation Challenge.
So this week, special week, we have Barry Carenza of Premium Edition Games, who's joining us this week. Hello, Barry.
Hello. Thanks so much for having me.
No problem. And we're also talking House of the Dead 2 and 3 on the Nintendo Wii. More on that later. But first, you can find the Game Deflators at thegamedeflators.com, our currently up-to-date website, Barry Carenza. Last time it was out of date. Yeah, we made some modifications to remove certain pages so I don't have to update them anymore and they don't stay update. You can also find us on YouTube. Just search up at the Game Deflators on there. You can also find us on social media. So Twitter or X is going to be at Game Deflators. Instagram and Facebook is at The Game Deflators. And you're listening to a podcast on a podcast app. Leave us a 5-star review. And if you have multiple podcast apps, leave us multiple 5-star reviews. We'd greatly appreciate it. So kicking things off, recent pickups. I think Barry and I probably have one of the same pickups here. I went ahead and got Mario Wonder. And that copy is actually not going to be arriving till the 24th. I forgot to pre-order it, funny enough, just because of everything going on right now. And lucky for me, I went on Walmart's website and you could actually, I don't know if it's still as of this recording and as you're listening to it, but I was actually able to order with the trading card pack and the actual game on their website for a delivery for this week. So didn't miss out on the pre-order bonus on that, which is nice. And then I heard that some Target locations are actually still giving out the Shadow Box. They had some extras apparently, so good there. But of course, I haven't played it yet, so I'm eagerly waiting to see what you have to say, Barry. Once we get to the currently playing and MTG cards. So always picking up Magic cards whenever I can for my standard decks. Definitely still enjoying playing that on a week-to-week basis, collecting, developing decks, and so on. And I'm trying to think of anything else. I think that was it pickup wise this week.
That's usually it.
Yeah, Magic cards is usually my pickup, and then or some D&D stuff from occasion. This week was special though. We picked up Mario Wonder, and then I'm hoping to add some premium edition games to the list, or some of the Kickstarter stuff that you guys are working on too, or not working on, but partnering with certain developers. And as far as currently playing, I am currently playing Last of Us 2 still, so replaying in a sense. So Barry, I don't know if you had been keeping up with prior episodes, but my wife and I, we watched the series. She really enjoyed it. We played Last of Us for a period of time, got super busy, couldn't play Last of Us for a while, got back to it, finished it. She enjoyed it, and then said, all right, let's pick up Last of Us 2 like right away. So we started playing that, and we just got past with scars at the hospital. So that piece where you're just battling the scar enemies in the game and making your way towards the, I think it's the aquarium, if I recall, or at least a boat section where they're like searching for Ellie. So definitely enjoying it. More so than I thought I would playing it again, since it has been probably about 4 years since I played it. I didn't think I was going to enjoy it as much as I am. And I'm catching things that I didn't catch before, which is fantastic. And as we're going through and exploring, seeing the different notes and getting a better understanding of the overall world and some of the struggles that different non-characters had, like you see a dead body, it's holding a note and you're like, oh, what happened? Like we read one yesterday that said, oh, I got shot by scars and I stole this medicine from the hospital. I need to give it to my wife. If you find it, please get it to her. She's pregnant, blah, 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 blah. And you're just like, wow, that's sad. But we know the wife's dead. We know that things didn't turn out the way they would have. And it's just interesting to go into the game with a different perspective than I did initially. And I don't play games a second time very often. So definitely different. And then I finally beat White Knight Chronicles on the PlayStation 3. This is, I think, Barry, I started this when you were last on the podcast. That's how long it's been.
Well, you got to do the second one now.
No, I'm good. I don't know. I might just for this.
It's a trap.
I was going to say story, but there's no story. It's just not good. It's not well written. I'll do my quick little review on this. So, the gameplay. By the way, Ryan, I beat the game at level 33. That should be an indication to you as to like, from I guess a level up perspective, but then just in terms of like, most RPGs you put in like 20 something hours, you're like, I don't know, maybe 50 or 60 at the end. Level 33 just seems so odd to me to beat an RPG. But to me, it was, again, like super easy. Not once did I die in the game for any battle, boss or not. I structured my stuff to where I had one person that was mainly magic and just healing, another person that was a tank and healing, and then myself who was a tank and healing. So everybody had the ability to heal. Everybody had tanking type properties with their weapons and their defense. And then the game is kind of like its own cheat code, and that they allow you to turn into a giant knight of the arc. And you could just smash everything left and right and not worry about what's happening. Like if you're doling out 200 damage to enemies every single battle as a knight, what else is there to do, right? And then there's multiple characters that can become knights as well. So it was, in terms of the overall gameplay, to me, it was lacking. I love the world. I think it's a beautiful looking world, and the graphics to me were great for a PS3 game, but it was very linear. You do get some exploration aspects within these dungeons, but there's no rhyme or reason as to why you would do it. They've got these different things like boosting up your weapons with shards and other things within the game as you collect them. Not once did I do that. I just used the base power for weapons. I didn't have to power up in any capacity. So like there's all of these extracurricular things that it feels like you don't truly need to get the most out of a game. And then the story for me just wasn't really there. It's not super compelling. Like at first you're captured. You're like, okay, cool. There's a princess who her dad was just killed, or the king was just killed. And, these people are invading the Magi, and you go and find this giant, knight armor and you turn into, and like that's compelling at first, but then it just falls off a cliff for me. It's like hard to really want to keep up with the story. There's no true plot twist until like the very end. There's like one plot twist. You're like, I kind of could see that's a thing with one of the characters. And in general, I just didn't find myself captivated. Like I will admit, I fell asleep a number of times playing this game. However, if the game is captivating enough, I shouldn't really have to fall asleep in the middle of the game. Like I've got other games I've picked up. Last of Us 2 is a great one. I haven't fallen asleep one time since we're playing that, and I know what's going to happen. Like I get into scenes and I'm like, okay, cool. Like I know this happens, this happens, this happens, this enemy comes out of this location, etc. Like there's just things you remember, and I'm not falling asleep. White Knight Chronicles, there were times, Barry, where I could literally like I pop on the PlayStation 3, I sit back, I start going through a dungeon, I kill 2 enemies, and then I find myself asleep and still walking into the same wall. Like, it's just what it ended up being. And so I think for me, I would honestly put this game, if I scaled it on the 1 to a 10, it's a 4 for me. After everything that I played and the experience I had, the fact that it wasn't keeping my attention, it's got to be a 4.
I heard the second one's better. Like they improved a lot on it.
Ryan told me it was worse.
No,
Really?
I'd watched a little video of when you started playing the game that was about like 1 and 2, and they said that they did make improvements in the second one, but like if the first one wasn't your jam, there's nothing really in the second one that's gonna like pick it up and carry you the rest of the way.
I mean, if the story is compelling enough, I think that's fine. For me, it was really a lot of a repetitive gameplay. The battles.
What, you mean like an RPG?
No, I mean, dude, RPGs are not necessarily. So when you consider like a Final Fantasy or something along those lines, you have different enemies that have different abilities, and there's different magics that will affect said enemies. There's different types of sequences where you got to say, oh, on this enemy, I know they have a higher armor. I've got to go ahead and boost up my attack, or I got to lower their defense, or I got to do certain aspects. The only 2 things that really happened to me, or 3 things. I had sleep a couple times, paralysis a couple times, and I was poisoned a few times. None of those were a true detriment to my gameplay, and I never died at one point because of that. So, I really think with an RPG there needs to be a little more depth into the battles and what's happening. And a true RPG that you're playing, if you are like too low of a level, you're dying. You're not getting past that RPG unless you strategically say, I need to have X items that are going to boost up my character, or I need to have, this particular ability is boosted up and allows me to do XYZ. There's none of that in White Knight Chronicles for me. It was just, I'm a low level. I'm blazing through this. I just have to raise the types of attacks. And also on top of that, all the different attacks you can do in combinations, I didn't even need to use them. It was just like slash, slash. Okay, I want to go ahead and do a combo. Cool. But if I do a combo, it removes my ability to turn into a knight faster. So let me not do that. So it's just like constantly slashing the same exact attack every single time. It was just not a good game. And I'm honestly shocked by, there's a few reviews I've seen that one guy was like, oh, this is a 10 out of 10. I love everything level 5 is done. I'm like, aha, you're a dark, not dark. You are, God, why am I spacing out on the damn game now? Dark Cloud. You're a Dark Cloud fan who likes level 5, and level 5 can do no wrong. Like, that's why it's a 10 out of 10 for you, because every single other review I'm watching is like 6 out of 10, 3 out of 10. There's a couple 7s, 1 or 2 8s that say, yeah, the game's got its flaws, but I enjoyed it, and this is my perspective. So, yeah, that's it, folks. Don't play White Knight Chronicles. All right, Ryan. I'm turning it over to you.
Yeah, so nothing compelling for me this week. I did not pick up anything. I have put, this is the wrong number. I'm about 15 hours deep into Backpack Battles on Steam, though, and I'm really just kind of addicted, just doing like one more run. It's a fun indie game. I talked about it a little bit last week, where you have, a turn-based auto battler. Every in between round, you have a little store where you could buy things from. You have to put together a backpack on a grid, kind of like you're managing your attaché case from like Resident Evil or something. And you got to fit your weapons and your vegetables and your frying pans and all your other adventuring gear into the backpack, have it all Jenga in just perfect and line up so that you could get the most bonuses. And then you let your little auto battlers just kind of bash against each other for 90 seconds until one of you comes out on top. And like all the different builds are super fun. There's so many different like slight variations that you could do, or like you could try to just like brute force through on like one type of build, but depending on what the shop actually gives you is going to determine kind of the direction you should go with your build, or whether you should just keep re-rolling the shop to force what you're trying to build. So I spent a bunch of time yesterday doing like a giant Buster Sword build, because they have all kinds of like references to other gaming stuff out there. So you could get like Cloud's big Buster Sword. There are like gems that you can slot into weapons to give effect. And of course, the Buster Sword's so big, it has like 4 slots. So I'm just like cranking out gems, getting all these added effects and just destroying everything. It was a ton of fun. And I'm honestly thinking about doing it as soon as we get off the podcast again. So,
what you should be thinking of is completing the darkness.
I did think about that yesterday, and I let those moments slip away from me. It was fun.
Barry, Ryan issued me I think you might have been on that episode, issued me a summer games challenge. Now keep in mind, summer, okay, games challenge. And I think this was in was it March or April? I don't know.
No,
It was
I think it was
summer.
like April. Yeah.
Yeah, it was April. Okay. And so I figured, let me give Ryan a nice 8, maybe 10-hour game. Let me give him Darkness on the PlayStation 3. Loaned it to him, actually. And I said, you're going to enjoy the game. I think it's great. It's got great reviews. A lot of people enjoy it. You'll like it. And so he says, okay, he plays however many hours. But keep in mind, his new game's resolution is Pikmin, which he is also 4 hours into. All right.
Pikmin 1?
Pikmin 1.
That's a short game.
He still hasn't
it's literally only 8 hours long.
he has put 15 hours into Backpack Battles, where he could have put 8 hours into 2 other games and just completed them.
Yep, 100% I did that.
I think punishment is deserving. Even on Pikmin, I think punishment is needed for
No, you can't punish me for Pikmin until the end of the year. That's how it works. I always get things done like the last week of December.
You even have another chance with Pikmin, because you could do the Switch version if you don't want to do the GameCube or the Wii version.
Yeah. I mean, they're both good games. So the Darkness I got to last week. I had just finished chapter 4, which was when you go back to the Darkness realm and take control. So I'm back in reality. Whoop, there goes gravity. Now I need to take over the town. I need to take down my uncle and do all the mob stuff. So I don't know how many sections are in chapter 5 as I've been following the guide,
I
but
don't even think that's very much left. I think you're actually like right towards the end.
yeah, it probably can't be too much. I was actually planning on trying to get that wrapped up today at some point so that I can be ready for next week.
Yeah, like I don't know. I think there's actually quite a few chapters. Hold on. No, there's 5 chapters. You're literally on the last chapter.
Yeah, I just don't know how many sections it is because it's like I'm following the IGN guide, which is like
that's what I'm on right now.
Worst guides to like click through on your mobile.
There's 7 sections, and yeah, the IGN guides are terrible.
Yeah.
Interesting, but yeah, you got to beat that one for sure. And let me know what you think. I actually was considering playing The Darkness 2 as my next game. But for sure, my wife and I are playing Wonder. And sorry, one more thing before we jump to Barry and his recent pickups and such. I am still playing Magic the Gathering Arena, and I finally hit Mythic.
Oh yeah, that's right. You sent me a picture of that.
Congrats.
Yeah, so that was good. Finally got there, which means now I can get destroyed by all the other Mythic decks that got there, and yeah, get my 5 packs at the end of the 30-day period. So I think I started ranked like within a 9. So it has, if you're the higher your percentage, the higher your rank. So I started at 98 and I got my ass kicked so many times. I'm at 95 now.
Nice.
So, I mean, you're talking like all the top players on there, right? So like, I wouldn't consider myself a top player, but I'm a very good player of Magic and I know what to do, but I'm also very stubborn and I don't want to spend money on this game. So everybody that has pumped in a ton of money on this game is, whooping me with like crazy decks that they've built out. Whereas I'm like, I'll just kind of keep gathering gold, play my burn deck and see how things go. But I am gathering rare, like the rare wild cards to be able to purchase other types of cards. And then whenever I go to live events, which I do frequently, or not frequently, but every other week, they have been giving 1,000 experience points, which usually equates to like a free bonus pack.
Cool. So do they reset the ladders every month?
Yeah, it's like I think every 30 or 45 days or something. But because I hit Mythic, I'll start at Diamond, which means my climb up isn't as bad. Whereas before, and once you hit a certain like stone or like metal, so if you hit Platinum, you can't go lower than Platinum. Even if you're like Platinum 4 and you lose 10 times, you stay at Platinum. If you hit Diamond and you lose a bunch of times, you stay at Diamond. Mythic is the same deal. You just lower your percentage of like in the Mythic players, you lower what rank you are within Mythic. But yeah, so I'll probably start at, I guess, Diamond technically when the ladder restarts, which means I won't have to go through a bunch of Platinum games to get the Diamond to then go through Diamond again. And Diamond is like the most difficult. There were times where I was like 1 win away from hitting Mythic, and then I would face a deck that I'm not good against. I would lose. I'd win again. I'm 1 win away, and then I lost like 6 in a row. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. So I had to climb back up. Lost several games in a row, climb back up. So it's just like this constant, like, why can I not like get past this last win?
I hate that so much.
And then finally I got against like one deck where I just like unloaded everything and he quit when he still had 10 life. I'm like, cool, because I was out of gas at that point. Like there was nothing happening the next turn for me. So yeah, I mean, that's really how it goes with arenas, and looking forward to, my goal on that is to continue to build up like an understanding of different decks that are in the meta. So when I face them in person, it's easier for me to understand like what's going to happen and what's going to be played. But also just, building fun decks on there. And then if I like them, I can buy them for physical cards and play those in person too. So
yeah, that's the part of Magic that's just like too big brain beyond me. Like I can do my deck, but like having to understand and guesstimate like what the odds the person's going to do on their next turn and what's going to be in their deck and what I need to be ready for, that's too much time and attention that I don't have to give.
Well, so I'll give you an example. Like last night, this guy that I was playing, he had a counterspell in his hand. I knew it like right off the bat. I'm like, he's got 2 cards in his hand. One of them is definitely a counterspell. And so I had like 4 mana open. I had a 3-drop creature I wanted to play, and I had a 1-drop creature that I knew if he counterspelled it, okay, because my 3-drop was going to deal 3 damage that turn anyways. So I read it right. I'm like, all right, let me drop my 1-drop creature. I've already got a 2/2 on the field, and he counterspelled it. I'm like, all right, cool. You tapped out. Here's my 3-drop. And went ahead and swung out on that and took out a good chunk of life just on that one turn. But those are plays that historically in the past I probably wouldn't have made, and I wouldn't have thought, what's in the guy's hand? What could he potentially play? How much mana do I have? What's happening here? And I found that's translated into the physical game in stores. When I see a guy, I'm like, how many cards you got in your hand? Oh, you got 3? Okay, you've got 4 mana untapped. All right, I know what's coming. Like, I know what card you're planning on playing. So let me throw in my 1-drop. Let me swing. Okay, you're going to exile or you're going to bring in your Planeswalker. Okay, I've got a burn card in hand. I'm going to play that now. Your Planeswalker's dead, and let's move on to the next turn. So, like, little things like that, I wouldn't have really kind of gotten such a firm understanding without like frequent play, and that's what I've gotten out of this.
And see, as an old counterspell player, that was always the best when people would do that and you'd counter and they'd be like, ha, thanks for wasting your counter. And they'd play it and you go, oh, I Force of Will you. And they just watch them curse.
That's why I love Legacy, dude. Like turn 1 Force of Will, somebody's like, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and drop like this 1 card that's gonna, allow me to catapult my deck to like a quick turn 3 win. You're like, nah, I'm gonna Force of Will that. Like, good luck. So all right, Barry. Let's move on from Magic and move on to you. I know you have at least one pickup this week.
Yeah. So in terms of Switch, I everything that comes out, I'm grabbing for the set, which is getting stupid big at this point. But of course, I grabbed Mario Wonder. I also grabbed like Spider-Man 2, Sonic Superstars, stuff like that. But I'm doing Mario Wonder first. I've also been on this real big kick for one of the reasons we're going to talk about in a little bit, in bolstering my Blu-ray DVD sets, because now that I have a child, I want him to have access to the shows that I grew up with. And, I'm a big superhero fan, Marvel, DC, stuff like that, sci-fi, like Transformers, all that stuff. I love that stuff growing up. I want him to have it. And I also want to have it for myself because I don't trust any streaming service. They're always removing stuff. Who knows what streaming is going to be like in 5 years, let alone 10 years. And I'm a big physical media advocate, so I've been buying like crazy, just sets of like trying to get like everything for every single series. Like I just got like the George Reeves Superman TV show, the old radio shows are on DVD. I'm like, I'll grab those. The old like 1940s Batman serials are on DVD, and I'm like, wow, I didn't even know this was preserved.
That's crazy.
Like, let me grab this. It was like $10. I'm like, I'm gonna grab this for, and just because it's cool, the history of it all. One of the things I grabbed, which is absolutely terrible, which is Legends of the Superheroes, which the more people I talk to, the more people have no idea what this is.
Yeah.
And I didn't know about it till YouTube. And it's ironically the first live action appearance of a lot of DC superheroes, made by Hanna-Barbera in the 70s, 78. And it is absolutely terrible. It's 2 like hour-long specials. And I can't believe they put these on DVD because they're so bad, filled with 70s music and 70s special effects. But it's notable because Batman is Adam West and Robin is Burt Ward. Live action. These are all live action. So they reprise their role a decade after the show. Their show ended.
I didn't know by name, but I do recognize that show. I've seen scenes from that show in the past.
It's terrible. And the second episode is a superhero roast hosted by Ed McMahon himself. So you see like Ed McMahon getting the crap kicked out of him by Solomon Grundy. It's like, what the hell is going on? They have a superhero called Ghetto Man, which is just as bad as it sounds. Like, it would never air today. So I'm like, I have to own this. Like, this is something that will never appear on streaming.
Coincidentally, DC storytelling really hasn't changed in all that time either.
No, it hasn't. But I've been like on a kick to just try to get everything because it's a finite collection. There's only so many series that have come out in the past. And if my son doesn't have any of it, then sorry, you're saddled with a bunch of DVDs and Blu-ray. But
so we did the same approach recently, by the way, when it came, exact same reason you outlined, right? Not trusting streaming services, with Disney ripping content off a year after it's come out because, oh, well, we just want to take it off to take it off. I think She-Hulk might have been one of them, or it might have been another series that they had recently created, but they took it off the service, right? So we were like, well, what's stopping them from saying, oh, we're going to, take off all of our kid Disney movies or animated films like Sword and Stone and all of that? Or how are we going to, based on today's norms or acceptances, how are we going to modify certain movies? Like I just heard recently people were upset because Lion King involves Mufasa dying. And because of that, they want to remove it. It's an introduction to death to a child. Or Bambi's mom, removing Bambi's mom, and that whole scene from the film. Like the fact that they can edit some of these older films to remove like, things that we grew up on, right? So I'm like, if I, as a parent, am okay with my child watching that, I should be okay with that. So I've been collecting, to the same point, Blu-rays and DVDs and such, of older Disney films, Studio Ghibli, etc. So that way I just kind of have those on hand.
Yeah.
And we're going to utilize it. We're going to a trip in Texas later this year. It's a 16-hour drive. And, I'm taking dogs and stuff, Ryan. So I kind of have to. Yeah, I know, right? So 16 hours of dogs and a baby in the car, but what else were we supposed to do to try and keep his attention? So luckily somebody gave us a portable DVD player, and we're going to hook that up to the car and Disney movies on the trip, right? Yes, I could do that with a tablet, but a tablet has a battery life. I can't plug it in directly to the system. And unless I'm downloading films onto the tablet, I have to go via internet. So now I'm using internet service and so on. Physical media is just pop it in. We're good. That's it. Move on to the next one. So yeah, same reasoning, but go on. Sorry.
No, not only that, but sometimes episodes are banned afterwards. Like my wife and I were rewatching Pokemon. Like we're trying to go through the entire series, every 25 years worth. And like some of the early episodes were banned because like Jinx is there, because Jinx is black originally before they turned to purple. And those episodes did get a release on the first printing of the seasons. So it's like, oh, I had to go track down the first printing of those to have those episodes and at least have more of the story. Some were never came out at all. Can't do anything with that. But when they came here and then were retroactively banned, it's like, no, I want those. I want those in my collection. They exist. They were dubbed,
Yeah.
Oh.
Mr. Popo on DBZ, another one, right?
Well,
same.
Did they change his color? He's always
pretty sure they changed him to purple as well.
I thought Mr. Popo has always been black.
I think they changed him to purple.
Did they have there was that like Porygon episode. I always remember
that never
the rumors
came out.
that it got like banned because of epilepsy and stuff.
Yeah, that never came out. It wasn't even Porygon that did it. It was Pikachu that did it. Like he used like a Thunderbolter and it like the electric flashes. They did dub it, like turn it down, the dimness in that particular scene and a lot of other scenes since. But that episode was never translated to English. It was never aired again. They took like I think it was a 4-month break and they added a brand new episode called Goodbye Pikachu. So he's still black. He's just lighter black. Oh no,
he's blue. He's blue in that.
Oh, mine. He's black. He's black. But yeah, so they made an episode called Goodbye Pikachu. That was literally a fake goodbye to Pikachu. To try and build sympathy with the viewers, like don't hate Pikachu for sending your kid to the hospital. He didn't do anything wrong. So that episode exists, and that was dubbed. That episode was dubbed, but it was done pretty much because of that. That's funny. But yeah, going through and just collecting all this stuff now, it's unfortunately running out of space, but I'm discovering things I never knew just going through these rabbit holes. Like, oh, they made a the series, or they made a Fantastic Four in the 70s I forgot about, where Herbie the robot is there instead of the Human Torch.
What?
And yeah, like there's a lot of weird stuff that came beforehand, and I don't know how much my son's going to like. I don't even know how much of it I'm going to eventually find the time to watch, because it's, watching a whole series of 100 episodes or even 70 episodes. That's a lot of time.
Yeah.
But I want to have access to it like a library if I ever do, or my friends do. And, if someone comes over and says, oh, let's watch this, even just watching 5 episodes here or there, just to have fun with it. Because I don't trust. One series my wife and I loved was Titans, from on DC. It was on Max. And like that's an adult show. It's a really good show, but it's an adult show. And I'm like, well, by the time my son is ready to watch it, he's going to be like 14 years old. Maybe I'll let him. In 14 years, I don't know if Max is going to be around or what the state of the streaming. I'm getting it on Blu-ray now because I know I could watch it, show it to him, and he can watch it in 14 years when he's ready. So it's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, like acquisitions occur. I mean, Disney was 20th Century Fox, for example. Like, I'm surprised that half the Simpsons episodes I've watched on Disney Plus have not been censored, because there's so much content that I'm watching. I'm like, how is this not like censored right now? Like, I'm okay with it, but like a lot of people aren't. So I like some of the episodes where like they go to Japan, for example. There's content in that I'm like, there's some stigmas in there that like some people could get upset over and cancel. So it's interesting to like just know that as these acquisitions continue, there are going to be episodes, there are going to be movies, things that are just like, nope, we're not showing this anymore. It's not available because of XYZ reason, or they'll remake it and then they'll remove a number of pieces of content that they deem unacceptable, right? Based on
all they
today's
need to
norms.
do is put a disclaimer at the very least in the beginning and say this was made in this date.
Yeah, 1942, right?
This was acceptable at the time. We do not hold these values, then these same beliefs in our company, but we're leaving it this way to preserve its original version.
Yeah, they
Watch
do
at
that at
your
the
own risk.
beginning of some things. I've seen that on Disney stuff before.
Yeah, and all they have to do is that. I don't think anyone would complain if that's all they did, because it lets the company doesn't have to stand for whatever message was said, especially if
Yeah.
it's something they bought from Fox, because they didn't
Yeah.
even make it themselves.
Yeah.
But here it is preserved. And if they want to, and they want an altered version, let people say, here's the original, but if you find this sensitive, we've altered it, and you can watch the altered version.
Yep, and they do that with anime and stuff nowadays too, where it's just like, oh, well, there's a certain. Actually, if you think about the Dragon Ball Z series, right? Like they cut out a lot of content because people had the choice now, right? I want to sit through hour-long, multiple episode battles and powering up and all of that, or I want a reduced version of that, right?
You're talking DBZ Kai?
Yeah, DBZ Kai. So I mean, like you have those alterations in a sense of what you can and can't watch, or what you want to watch based on the user, and that really should be how it is. But
no, everybody needs to see 8 episodes of fire tornadoes on Namek. Everybody.
You mean where it's going to take 5 minutes for the planet to explode for 30
for
episodes?
like 30 episodes, yeah. Or what I'm dealing with in One Piece now, like the Battle of Kaido and everything. It's like one night, but it's taken 100. It's literally, I think the Wano arc has been 4 years in the making on the anime. Like people have literally been watching this 4 years, and I just finished it. And I started it like 12 months ago, right? So I feel bad for everybody else, but now I'm caught up and it sucks. Oh man. So Barry, what else you got going on?
That's it in terms of just like collecting and what I've got in and playing. I did a couple things. I did Detective Pikachu Returns because that just came out earlier this month, and I couldn't finish it. I actually stopped halfway through, not because the game is bad, not because it looks like a 3DS game, because it probably was. It's because I love detective style games. I love Danganronpa. I love AI. I love Zero Escape. I just early this year, Master Detectives Raincode came out. Loved it. Loved it. Loved it. This is like baby's first detective game. Like I could play this with my kid, and it's not because it's Pokemon at all. It's because you start with the normal detective game, it's like, all right, who did it, and you come up with a theory, and by the time you finally find out who really did it, you've had like 10 different suspects. It's always changing. There's always new evidence. There's always twists and turns, and it's always keeping you on your toes. And in this, it's like, oh, who did it? Oh, I think it's that one. And it turns out to be that one. Like you got it on the first guess, and it takes you, an hour's worth of gameplay of going through the motions just to be like what you knew already. So it's like I was like so bored. I'm like, oh, do I really have to? I have to go here, and then I have to quote. I know it's there. Like that's the person. I have enough evidence. I can prove it. But no, I've got to go through the motions before my character will finally be like, all right, yeah, here's the evidence. And I just found myself so bored with it because I was like, it was no turns. It was no excitement.
Yeah.
So as a first entry into a detective style game, it's great. It's absolutely great. And I plan to introduce it to my son when he gets older and let him play. And I think he'll have a blast, especially because games like Danganronpa with blood and everything like that and murder and might not be the best. But I think coming right off of Raincode, where like the first mission is mystery is like 4 different locked room murders, and locked room murders are really interesting because like, how did it happen? How did they get out? The room was locked. And then you have to piece it together and figure that out. Like that was so complex. That's just the first chapter. And like here it's like, oh, who stole this prized gem? I don't know. We should check. It must be a Pokemon. Oh, Cramorant seems to be having a stomach ache, and he's known for swallowing things. Should we check Cramorant? No. Let's let Cramorant just walk back to the house in misery and pain for a while, and we're going to make him wait until we finally maybe rub the back of his head and get him to spit up. No, it's right there. I'm spoiling it. It's right there. Like anyone with any type of intelligence is like, dude, you have a stomach ache. Let's cough it up. You even talk
Yeah.
about how you can cough it up. Nope.
Yeah.
We're gonna let you wallow in misery. Have fun. I'm like, what? It's right there.
Well, see, that's the entry to Dr. Pikachu.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's where that comes in.
It's like aggravating because it's like, all right, this is obvious. And then I'm like, well, maybe there's a twist. Maybe he swallowed something else. And like, nope, it's exactly as you expect. So it's one of those things. Like the second chapter wasn't even a mystery. It was just like going through a dungeon kind of deal. I'm like, this isn't even a mystery. What the heck is going on here?
Wow.
So I'm like, yeah, this is too easy.
Yeah.
I don't mind playing games on easy mode for the story, but it was too easy. But if that's your jam,
I just thought about this as after I said Dr. Pikachu, and I'm like, what if they made a game called Poke Center, and it was basically just Trauma Center, but for Pokemon?
Oh god.
yeah, you play as Nurse Joy.
You play as Nurse Joy, yeah, and you have a Chansey, and you're just like surgically going at it with Pokemon and her anatomy.
There you
Well,
go.
no, it would just be spraying people with health potions and putting
That's true.
Pokeballs on the
Yes.
table. It'd be
You're all
just
better.
super easy.
Yeah, right. Throw them. All right, we're good. We're done. 2 hours of gameplay at most.
You know,
But,
if you like good mystery stuff, I saw Haunting in Venice a couple weeks ago. That was pretty good. It's
Oh.
part of those like Detective Poirot series, like the Death
Oh,
on the Nile and
The Glass Onion guy, or
no, that's different.
oh, that's a different one.
Mhm.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. The Nile was good. I liked that one.
Mm-hmm.
And they did the Death on a Train one
Orient
as well.
Express. Yeah.
Orient Express, yeah, that was
Yeah.
good too.
I have
Nice.
to check that one out.
Mario Wonder. I gotta know.
Yes. So I am playing Mario Wonder. I have it's nice because each level gives you different star rankings, and I could say even as a single player, it is easier playing it online because I started playing single player, and then I was like, oh, let me just put on online to see what that functionality is like, and it works so well.
Yeah.
Because you see other people playing, they can sometimes help you because you see them like climbing up a beanstalk that's not on your screen, like, oh, there's something there. When you die, they can help you revive, and you can revive them. You put the standees there, and you can't revive with your own standee, but your standee will help other people, but their standees could help you too. So it does make the game easier. So if you want a little more of a challenge, stay offline. If you want a more, an easier challenge or an easier time, do online. But I don't know how long that's going to be the case. Like right now, it's fresh. There's a ton of people playing. In 5 years from now, you might go online and you might not see anybody per level. And it's unfortunately a product of the online element, but it still plays perfectly fine single player. So there's 6 worlds in a hub world. I've done all 6 worlds and the hub world, so I can go right to Bowser. But now I've started going back and I've completed the first 2 worlds 100%. Because at first I'm like, oh, it's not counting everything, and then I realized like, oh, it does show everything when you can select levels, because each level has 3 purple coins, 10-point purple coins, like the old Yoshi dragon coins, and then there's at least 1 mystery seed per level, sometimes multiple, and then getting the top of the flagpole counts as a thing. So I'm like, I'm gonna go through each level and do that, and sometimes. Even when you have it all, there's no check mark, which means, oh, there's a hidden exit. So you get, it's like some Super Mario World where it's like some certain levels have multiple exits and they lead to different parts on the map. It has a very Super Mario World feel to the world map. There's a special zone like Star Road that you could find, and there's an entrance in each of the worlds. Is
Cool.
kind of a little bonus. Those levels, I'm scared. I tried one, and it was hard. I think I tried like 30 times and I got close, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna come back because there's badges and maybe there's a badge I don't have that can make this a little easier. But yeah,
How do you find the badges?
So the badges some of them are bought from shops. You can just buy them. Other ones are found through challenge. They have at least challenge levels for badges. And when you complete that, you get the badge. But what's nice is in the challenge levels for badges, you don't lose lives. So if you die, no loss, so there's no risk. And it's literally an obstacle course designed for you to use the badge and learn how to use it. So they teach you that. And I like that. There's still stuff to collect, but it gives you an opportunity. And there's multiple, like each one has 2 different obstacle courses, an easier one and then a harder one later on. But there's some badges that I found the harder one before I found the easier one, and it still gives you the badge if you beat it.
Oh,
So
cool.
you could do it in either order. You can skip levels like crazy. Like it's not one of those where you have to play every level. You need a certain amount of mystery seeds, and I think like the first world you need 14 to unlock the castle and move on. Out of I think there's 36 in the world,
Okay.
so they give you plenty of leeway. I don't think anyone would really be struggling to beat the game because they give you so many extra. It just depends if you want 100% it. And
Wh-
it's I like the
Where do
100.
you put this on, like, the pedestal of, like, Odyssey having come out a number of years ago, Super Mario Bros. 3, you
I
mentioned
mean,
Super Mario World.
Odyssey is a different beast because it's a 3D Mario, and you really have
Yeah.
to put 2D Mario and 3D Mario in
Yeah,
different.
yeah,
I think it's up there. Mario World has always been my favorite. I like New Super U. I know some people said like, oh, it felt stale, but I really enjoyed New
I did
Super
too.
U.
Yeah.
And to me, it's up there. I mean, Mario World, Mario 3, New Super U are probably my top three, and this is, I think, in that pantheon.
Does this
Um,
feel like a step forward
oh
for
God,
Mario?
yeah, yeah. The wonder effects are fun. There's very few that have been repeated. Some change perspectives, some just make the world crazy. I mean, it definitely like LSD drug type things, but it feels well, it controls well. The badges, while you don't necessarily need them, I like the fact that they allow any character to do like Peach's crouch jump or higher, the Yoshi flutter. I've been playing as Luigi, so I get the power ups. The power ups are good. Elephant power up feels good. The drill is fun. You go into the ground or into the roof. Anything you could drill into. And Bubble works. Bubble is really cool for speedrunning because Bubble will turn any enemy you hit with the bubble into a coin inside the bubble, including like dry bones, stuff that you couldn't normally kill
Mhm.
permanently, you can take out. And then you could bounce on the bubbles too. So I know speedrunners are loving the bubble. It's really cool. One of the badges allows like forces you to always run, but allows you to run off cliffs for a little bit. So you
Oh,
can
like Coyote Time?
like coyote, and then you could jump from that as well.
Oh,
So
cool.
y- so some like one I don't like is where you're always bouncing. I never like power ups like that. One makes you completely invisible. Enemies can't hit you, but you can't see yourself either. So they work. I like the first one you get is you like pull up your hat like a parachute, and I think I only used it while I had it. My favorite personal one is one that puts exclamation mark blocks places to makes the game a little bit easier, but it also allows you to see hidden things kind of deal because you're like, oh, there's blocks up here, maybe there's
Mm.
something up there. Oh, here's a hidden one up. It does make the game a little easier, but I don't mind it because when I'm just trying to get all the coins and stuff right now. There's one that will point you in the right direction if you're having problems finding like where's this second coin in this level. Like there's a badge that will help you find things. So it's honestly very very good. A lot of fun. I highly recommend. And I do think you'll have an easier time playing it now while people are actually playing it because you can use that online function. You can do the same thing offline, however, though. So like you could play two player and just have like one player stand there while you try a difficult jump and then come back and like revive yourself, which is
Hmm.
actually something I did in New Super U. You were able to do that as well, similar system. But I definitely it exceeded my expectations.
nice, good to know. So I'll have my hands on that sometime next week. I probably won't get to it right away, but good to know that it's a great title that should
Oh
be
yeah.
picked up. Nice. All right. Well, let's talk premium edition games. Let's get an update from you on what's happening in your world, and what do you guys have going for Series 7 and so on. Important dates, new announcements,
Yeah.
secret things to break on the podcast.
So did you watch the direct?
I did
Yes, I
watch the
did.
direct. We
All
both
right,
did.
thank you, thank you,
Yeah.
thank you. And that was the last 2 months of my life.
I love the intro, by the way. The new intro you
Yeah.
guys are using.
That
Absolutely love it. Like,
that was 100% Tristan, our designer, did that. That intro was actually supposed to be used for the last direct, and I told him I love this. He's like, "No, I got another idea with the cork board." I'm like, "The cork board is good, but I like this better." He's like, "Oh, but we're gonna use the book for like promo, like a promo advertisement, and we're gonna use the cork board." I said, "Okay, use the cork board." So we did, and then we never did that promo advertisement. So when we were doing
Mm.
this direct, I said, "Hey, Tristan," I said, "the book I said, "You still have it?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Update it, add the new titles to the book, and let's use the book." So
Yeah, I thought it was great. I definitely enjoyed that. You guys should do that moving forward for
yeah,
sure. Like it
well,
was really nice.
we try and do different intros as we do. Each one has a different
Yeah.
intro. I like the book, and we will probably might revisit the book again, down the road. We'll see whatever we decide the next one. And Tristan is the main designer behind those. I won't take credit for that.
Yeah.
He's awesome. Shout out. But we do appreciate the views because they are labor of loves. It's a lot to write it and get people to record and work with the developers to get messages in there and let them record
Mm-hmm.
and get their own voice as part of the direct, and it all comes together. And it's Tristan put it together, and he did the video editing and did a fantastic job. And but yeah, we like doing that when we come out with new titles because we want to highlight them. They're the stars, the developers are the stars, the games are the stars, not us. We just put a little pretty wrapping paper around it. But we did come out with Series 7, and as of this recording, 2 out of the 3 titles are available for pre-order. The first is Anuchard, which we came out with. That was something we teased last time, and we talked about last time. And Anuchard is a phenomenal action RPG with the graphics of Moon, the gameplay style of Zelda, the humor of the Mother series, and it's just this really interesting story about the world of Anuchard, and people are desperate and going into this dungeon to try and solve their own worries, and their souls are getting trapped inside this dungeon, and their bodies are turning to stone, and people are losing their loved ones, and you can go into these dungeons. Each dungeon is different, trying to rescue each of their souls and their spirits, and restore them to life, and calming their issues, and fighting great bosses and puzzles. And it starts off that way, and you're like, oh, this, I see the premise, and then like, oh yeah, you rescued everybody, like, oh, that was quick. It's like, oh no, but that was only the first part. And then there's new dungeons that open up and new worlds you start to explore, and around new characters, and it, it just goes on from there. I don't want to spoil it. It is one of those titles that if you like Zelda, if you like action RPGs, you will be hooked. If you like good storytelling, if you like good humor, each level also has a little bit of Mario in the sense of there's different collectibles per dungeon, and you could always go back to select. Oh, this dungeon, I'm missing the third item. You can go back to it to collect and use those items you find to power up and a skill tree to power yourself up further or power up the world further, and it's just really good, and that's available
Nice.
now.
Nice. I did see Lonesome Village actually. As a new dad, Lonesome Village really caught my attention as a title that I could like sit back, do a few things like that Animal Crossing type of feeling, and then put it down and go back to it, right? Not falling asleep like I'm doing in White Knight Chronicles. So, can you give us your thoughts on that one and what you've experienced?
Yeah, so Lonesome Village was a title that I actually got a notification originally from Nintendo because they put out, Nintendo on YouTube puts out trailers, and they put out this trailer, and I watched it, and I fell in love with it. I'm like, oh my God. So I immediately sent them a message, and they responded, I think, the next day, and they were like, oh, we have no plans right now for physical. And I said, well, we're interested. We want to play your game. And they got back to us a couple weeks later, set up a meeting. We all played it. They gave us codes, and the whole team was like, yeah, this game is really good. And this one, it's a couple notable things. One, it was a Kickstarter, and it blew past, I think it did like 5 times its goal. Two, it's an entire Mexican development team, which you rarely see. You rarely see development studios out of Mexico. And Ogre Pixel is, and they brought a brand new flair that you don't usually see in games, because you could tell, like, this is a Western game, this is a American game, this is a Japanese game, this is a European game. You don't see Mexican. And the game has those cozy elements, like you said, like Animal Crossing. You could design your house, you could fish, you could grow, plant seeds, and you can do little quests. But then you also have Zelda elements. It's a mix of Animal Crossing and Zelda, where you go into this tower and there's puzzles to solve and a mystery. And the whole thing, it's funny because you have this happy-go-lucky animal village and there's beautiful cel-shaded graphics, but there's this dark undertone because all the villagers have been trapped inside the tower. Why are they trapped? What happened? Who put it there? What sinister plot? So you have this juxtaposition of happy-go-lucky with dark and sinister, and it works so well that we all fell in love with it. The whole team. We're like, yeah, like this is, and it also fits a different niche. So it fills the niche of those that do like those cozy games that we don't have a release like that. But for those that like something a little more, that like the puzzle aspects, to like the make you think, especially Zelda fans, um, absolutely fills that niche too. There's not like huge combat kind of deal. It's puzzle. But if you were like, hey, I played Animal Crossing during the pandemic and I really enjoyed it. Uh, this is not going to give you that as deep of an experience as creating your own island, but it gives you way more story. And like you said, playing with your son, I plan to play Lonesome Village with him as he gets older too, because it gives you that ability to do so.
Yeah, I think the storytelling is such an important element that, like you kind of said, with Animal Crossing, like it's not, you have more of a depth of building, but you don't necessarily have a deep, deep story. And there's not like this big sinister plot, like you were saying. So having, those, and that's what I really like about games like this. You have the different elements, like the positive elements that are pulled from certain titles, kind of merged into this overall vision. And their vision is like, let's tell a really deep and enriching story and go about it in that manner. So I love when that happens with indie titles for sure.
Yeah.
And then the other one I know is Sunshine Manor Anthology. I know a lot of people have been excited about that. It's been coming soon for a bit, and it sounds like it's finally here, right?
Yeah, so Sunshine Anthology was our very first Kickstarter. The Kickstarter was for Sunshine Manor, and Sunshine Manor was a sequel to the game Camp Sunshine. So when we signed on for the Kickstarter, we said for the physical, because we always try and do complete on cart, we wanted both games.
Nice.
So the Sunshine Anthology is the collection of Camp Sunshine and Sunshine Manor on the Switch. And we we couldn't do it yet. The Kickstarter version was pre-ordered during the Kickstarter, but we didn't put it on our website yet because it wasn't done. And then when the game was finished and released and got great reviews, but it was only released on Steam, so it had to be ported. So the whole time, the last few updates, even in the direct, were just porting updates. We were waiting for the game to be ported before we put up and started collecting money. And finally, we're talking to Paul from Fossil Games, a really good guy, a really good friend, just saying like, hey, guess what? Like Sunshine Manor is done. It's in testing, and Camp Sunshine's about done because it's an older game, so it's a little harder. I said, so we're good to put it up now. He's like, yeah. And I said, well, this is the perfect time. It's Halloween. Like
Yeah.
this is it. And I said, but I have one condition, Paul. And he's like, what's that? I said, you have to make the announcement. I said, you've been a champ. You've been in every direct since the third direct that we've done. You've given an update. I said you need to be the one to do it. So he made a really cool video for us, faking people out, which actually did get messages afterwards from people like, you actually had me. Like, I was so excited. They've been waiting for that game. And they thought it was just another porting update, and I'm like, yeah. That was the goal. That's what we wanted to do. So that is coming. That is coming October 30th for pre-order, and that's actually one where we're getting a third version instead, not just the standard and the retro, but we do have a deluxe version for that one. The deluxe has the double-sided strategy guide. One side is for Camp Sunshine, the other for Sunshine Manor. It's got a steel book that's exclusive to it with the beautiful Graham Humphreys artwork, the Neo Geo case, the slipcover, as come to expect from our other deluxes. And all our retros and deluxe for Series 7 are extremely limited. We actually printed the last retros, and we usually do. So it's one of those where if you want it, it's a finite number, and it's the same number that our distributors take out of too. So if you see that any on like VGP, for example, that's from that same pool. It's not like
Mhm.
that's actual. We made these extremely limited because we really want them to go to collectors. We really want people to enjoy them. And then the ability to finally bring that out. It's going to leave a void in the future directs because I don't have to write a spot for it because I've had to write for Sunshine for so long. And fun fact, the original, this is like a behind the scenes thing because it's never going to happen. But the original plan for Sunshine when it was going to be announced, we were planning for it for the fall, but we were planning a summer series as well. But our summer series got pushed because our CEO moved to Hawaii. I just had a kid. Our other partner just had a kid, and so we had too many things going on in the summer. We're like, all right, let's take a little bit of a break. But the original plan was to have a summer direct, and the hype button thing for the direct for that one was going to be the hype button was going to be there, and everything suddenly went black and the bear appeared from Sunshine and the bear hit the button and that was it. No trailer. That was just going to be it as a tease for Sunshine coming in the fall. And I could talk about that now because that never hit paper. I never even wrote it. It was just in my mind. That was what it was going to be. So it was originally going to be the tease game.
There's our breaking news on the Game Deflators
There you
podcast
go.
right there. Fresh. Nobody knew about that.
Yeah, a little behind the scenes to the workings of it all. But yeah.
And it looks like now you can buy all of these things in one big mega pack, right?
Yeah.
So you've got the Get Everything mega pack, which is literally everything. And then you've got your mega packs and so on, which was refreshing to see. But like, there's not a, okay, let's add a bunch of things to cart. Now you have a decision. Should I get this? Should I not? You're like, right off the bat, this is what I'm spending. I'm going to get the mega pack and get everything right off the bat.
And we did that. We did Enerchart as a shadow drop the same day as the direct, and we did the mega packs the same thing. So that if you're one of those people where you're constantly forgetting, and I get this and I have to go back right away, like you could buy Sunshine right now, even though it's not up in the mega pack. And those retros that are again they're part of that allotted. So there is a standards mega pack, I believe, and a retros mega pack, and then the everything for the collector. And we've seen a lot of people really enjoy the mega packs because it's one click. Other companies do it. So here's buy the 3-pack or buy these mega packs, and a lot of times the mega packs throw in with some companies they've thrown in stuff you don't really care about. Like I want this stuff, but I don't want this, and that's why we did multiple mega packs to really say, all right, here if you're just a standard collector, that's fine. Boom. If you love the retros and you want to make sure you get them and you grab it, then you don't have to worry. Like there's so much other stuff going on. We don't want you to be sweating and we get messages all the time. I missed this game. Do you still have this game? Just this morning when someone in our Discord was like, oh, I'm looking for Raji and I just missed it on eBay and I don't know what to do. And I'm like, well, don't buy our games on eBay. Come to us first. You buy on eBay, you're not helping anybody but the seller. You come to us, you're actually helping the developer because the developer makes money when we sell the games. So you're actually giving money to the developer. And Raji is actually going on a second chance sale tomorrow.
Yeah, and I usually I've got it bookmarked actually to premium edition page. So if there's anything that I want to purchase, or like you said, the second chance sales comes up, I have the ability to just kind of quickly check that out. So definitely something to do. And of course, the Discord that you noted as well. It's great to have really a community developed around this too. So I know you guys did a couple other things. So you had Nintendo games actually. So you had Oratorio, Jim and Dill were noted on that as well. So a little bit about those. I'm definitely the Jim and Dill one that caught my attention mainly because like the way, I don't know if you can hear my baby in the background crying on the podcast, but it might be bleeding through. It has that Zelda 1 and 2 vibe in the sense of like, how it's broken out. Like, oh, we decided to go this direction and then we broke out to a Zelda 2 style or just beat them up after the fact. And as I was watching it, I'm like, is that a curse? Like, do you want to do that? Or like, what's your experience been with those games?
They're both fantastic. And I think he's the only developer I know of that actually models after the Zelda 1 and 2 or the Castlevania 1 and 2, where the sequel is different than the first game. But Clay is a great guy. He did a great job with these titles, and they're available. You can get them digitally, but he actually went back to the games and he retooled them, he fixed them, he made them better. And that better version is only available via the physical. That's not a digital thing. You can't get that on an emulator. Only the physical cart is going to have the enhanced version. And he actually had to recut both of those trailers because the footage was the old trailers wouldn't have done it justice. He did so many improvements. So those are for the physical versions exclusively. The first game is like Star Tropics and Zelda, and it's a ton of fun and they're both very funny games. And the second one's like Double Dragon beat 'em up, and you can play the second one without the first, so you can play them out of order. I love the story behind the band and like Clay, Clay recounted the whole story during the direct and stuff like that. I love that he shared that with us and with you guys, because I think that adds to the level of passion behind these games. And we haven't revealed what we're exactly doing with them yet. That's coming in the winter, but we wanted to get them out there because we didn't want them to just be out there. No one knows about them. We wanted to give them the attention they deserve, and we will be doing something special with one, or you could buy just one or the other, or you can do a 2-pack. We're discussing doing. There'll be separate cartridges, but and these play on the NES. These are real NES games, which is cool.
And then talking about NES Oratorio, Ryan, I don't know if that was one that caught your attention as well.
Yeah,
but
Oratorio looked really cool.
Yeah, to me that was like, man, that's like right up my alley. Again, like a game you could kind of pick up, quickly play. The musical aspects of it is even cooler because like that's not something that I'm super familiar with on being on the NES. I don't recall anything of that nature being on there, right? So yeah, so it's great to have like a rhythm-based game on the NES. Like, who would have thought like that's the console that would have been of choice to be able to release this game?
It's the only one of its kind. We've actually had other developers talk to us afterwards and go like, I saw that game. I don't even know how we got that running on the NES. Like, that's a tough thing for that system to do. Like on the PlayStation, it's super easy, but on the NES, to do that and to do it well, and it plays extremely well. Like honestly, the trailer doesn't even do it justice compared to how it is playing, because it's like you can watch a trailer for Res and then you can play Res and you like understand how good it is. And this actually requires a specific chipset in the cartridge. So it's a special cartridge. Just again, we'll play on the NES, but we had to use a specific chipset to make sure it works properly. And we're like, all right, yeah, well, we'll use that specific chipset. We want this to work. We want to do this game. So again, this is something where we'll play on the NES. These are going to be limited because we're not doing 1,000 print runs. We're doing more like 100 or so. I know that's available now. That was part of our Nestember, but we wanted to bring it to attention because a lot of people they only pay attention to the directs. They don't see all the smaller announcements, and we wanted to give it again the attention it deserved.
Yeah, that to me was like my unsung hero, I think, in a way, right? Like I really enjoyed seeing, like, that was just, to me, it was super cool to see something like that, right? Like there's tons of games that come on an annual basis, but something of that nature is just so different. Really stood out to me on that. So I really thought that was cool.
Yeah.
And then the other things that got noted here, we had an update on Crystalla, which I've had my eye on for a long time. We had updates on Poglings. We also had the hype button for Carl, which of course immediately dear to my heart with it being a platform style game. And then Gordian Quest, which was initially teased on a direct and then of course announced via X or Twitter as well a few days later. So anything in particular on those that like really stands out to you as you've kind of been close to these titles and throughout the process, obviously?
Sure. So Crystalla is a title near and dear to my heart as well. I've known the team since they started back in 2019. They're fantastic developers. They're, all female led, and this is their first game. They went super ambitious with it. They've been working their butts off. Even in that video with the three heads, Ali, the CEO, was like a week and a half away from giving birth. And she was still, here I am doing this video. I want to be a part of it. I want to, still working behind the scenes, even that much into pregnancy, because she is the whole team. They're so passionate, just so passionate about their game, and it bleeds into us because we're passionate about what we do. So it was a match made in heaven. And the Kickstarter was a resounding success. It did over 11 times its number. It hit every stretch goal, and we were really happy to be a part of it. So we did the physical PlayStation 5 version for that, Kickstarter exclusive. But since the Kickstarter has ended, there's a backer kit where you can still support the team, and as part of the backer kit, you can still get that a Kickstarter exclusive cover version of the PS5 game. So I do recommend, if you're a collector, if you want to support this team, go over there. We will have the game on our site down the road once it's done. That's obviously still in development. So this is a way you can support them and secure yourself a copy. So highly recommend. It's such a good game. And there's a demo on Steam. So if you're like, oh, I don't know if I'll like this, it's an action RPG, Souls-like game. There's a demo on Steam. You could definitely check it out. It's a ton of fun. Frank played it on our stream. Everyone loved it.
And it's all of cats.
All cats.
All cats. Yeah.
And you'll be able to make your own cat as a playable character.
Perfect.
Nice.
People got to make their own cat.
Gotta make your own cat.
And you get dog steeds in the main game. And you can pet the dogs and you different familiars, and there's a lot of extra stuff. These are all like Kickstarter stretch goals that are all smashed. So it's wonderful to see that. Like you said, Carl is a game that we got asked about for a while, and the truth is we had Carl from pretty much the beginning, because it's Matt Bittner makes it, who did A Robot Named Fight with us, and we had a meeting with him and Andrew Kennedy, Nintendo, and Matt was just showing him the deluxe Robot Named Fight and said, "Here's what they did," and Andrew just looked at it and said, "Yeah, let's do this." So that's what we love. We love to have the developers come back to us. Like, they were so happy the first time around, they wanted to come back and work with us again.
Yeah.
And Carl was honestly my indie game of the year last year. It's an action platformer very akin to Mega Man with some Mario aspects. Ton of fun. A lot of levels, a lot of worlds, and a lot of gameplay. And it was going to come out sooner, but they told us they had more content coming. And we said, all right, well, do you mind us delaying the release, because we want to have it complete on cart. And since Andrew is a collector, he was like, yeah, totally makes sense. Plus, it's his. He wants to preserve his own game. So that content hasn't come out yet. It's still being worked on right now as we speak. I don't know when it's slated to come out, but we will be doing the physical once that's there, so that you will get the whole game on the cart. It's all preserved.
Nice.
And we're really excited because Carl's just so good. And then Gordian Quest, which was our tease. Gordian, a little behind the scenes thing. Gordian Quest was supposed to be our hype button thing. Carl was not. We weren't sure when we were going to be talking about Carl yet, because we wanted to give them time. But Gordian Quest is, Mixed Realms and now Modus. And our friends over at Modus Games reached out to us and said, here's our plans. We're going to be announcing the game digitally for the Switch on the 5th. And I said, well, we're going to be announcing the physical on the 2nd. And they said, could you delay? And we said, well, we can't delay the direct. And they said, well, we really would appreciate if you would hold off on the announcement to the 5th, so we have our marketing and everything like that. And we value our relationships. So what we said is, okay, we will not move our direct, but what we will do is we will move our announcement. But we needed a new hype button. We didn't want to leave everybody with just a note.
Got to have the hype. You built it up now.
So we built up the hype. So we said, all right, let's move Carl and check with Andrew and Matt if we could do Carl. And they gave us the go-ahead. And we still put the note in there for the 5th for Gordian Quest. And we launched that onto our YouTube and through Twitter and everything. And Gordian Quest is an action RPG, like a deck-based RPG. And is a 30-hour campaign. It's got a rogue mode. So as an MTG player, this is like perfect for you. What's cool is that there's different classes you can play as. Each class has their own deck. So you could do, I think it's like 3 cards per turn per player. So like if you're the warrior, you can do like a 1-2-3 combo if you have the right cards, where the cards actually help each other, where this card does like 50 damage, but it does 100 damage if another card was played that turn. And the same with like spellcasters, like Fireball does 20 damage, but Fireball 2 does 50 damage if Fireball 1 was already played that turn. So you can use a turn to move and then do different combos depending, because it's like Mega Man Battle Network with the grid based. Okay. And so you can move different lines and do spells per line, and you can really use the strategy. You can do a card, move, and then do another card, however you want to do it. So there's healers with heal cards, and you could build your RPG party. It's a lot of fun. There's quests, there's dungeons, there's bosses. Just this really great title. We fell in love with it on Steam. I think we played like 5 hours and we had to pull ourselves away. We're like, nope, we put in so much time. We'll wait for the Switch version. Like we're sold. We're sold on this game already. So That game is available digitally for pre-order right now as of this recording. I think it comes out the 26th of October digitally. And then next year, we will be doing the physical. We want to let the game come out. We want to see if any bugs from the porting process, because a lot of times there's little bugs or little patches. We want to let all that to get kinked out and make sure that the cartridge is as complete as we can make it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Nice. All right. Well, anything else before we dive into our physical media topic for the day?
All it is just if you haven't watched the direct, we do appreciate you watching. Leave a comment, leave a like, share it with your friends. Like I said, it's a labor of love, and this is really for the developers and the publishers. These are their babies. We just want to get the word out there and get their message out there. And we just appreciate all the support, everyone listening that has supported us, that has purchased even one game or seen us at a show. We do appreciate that, and we hope you look forward to what we have coming, because we have a ton of games still in stock on our website right now. So don't go to eBay, go to our website, buy from us. We just did a second chance sale for They Bleed Pixels, part of our Series 5. As of this recording, tomorrow Raji goes up. We'll have Eagle Eye and Twist and Love 3 shipping out here to people. They just came in, and we'll have second chance sales for those as well. And the Raji Collector's Edition book might have just arrived too. I got to double check. So we'll be shipping those out too. So there's a lot of stuff going on. Also, stay tuned for Rack and Ruin on PS4, which was delayed because of a bug. We made, LifeSpark Entertainment was nice enough to go back and fix that for us. So we will have the complete version of that on disc later this fall as well. I'll be going out for pre-order, plus a bunch of other stuff, maybe Black Friday. Just check out premiumeditiongames.com for sure.
Nice. And all of that was amazing, as always. Right? Yeah, good to tie into amazing. Good stuff, dude. So really exciting things going on, and looking forward to a lot of these releases. So before podcast, we let you know, we're like, hey, let's talk Best Buy and Walmart are phasing out physical games. So I figure we could have a quick, it doesn't have to be a long discussion, maybe just your thoughts on that. Ryan's thoughts, my thoughts on, really this move and what this means in general. And honestly, I think it's in a sense positive for you guys, right? As these bigger retailers begin to pull out of some of this physical media, that allows you guys to, in a way, fill a void sometimes where a lot of these games are not getting that physical treatment or they're not getting put on shelves. I personally think it helps companies like yours to be able to continue to preserve in that manner. But long term, it sucks, right? Like you're a collector, I'm a collector. We like physical media and the preservation aspect of that. And seeing these retailers, at least from a DVD and CD perspective, Walmart with Xbox games, as you had noted earlier, phasing out those physical media is like the future looks kind of bleak for disc-based and cartridge-based games moving forward, unfortunately.
Yeah, I disagree with you on helping us, though. I think it hurts us more than anything, because first off, it totally shifts the general populace perspective.
True.
And what I mean by that is the general populace has no idea who we are. And the general populace nowadays are just fine downloading a game and being fine with that. They don't need physical. They don't see, a lot of kids today are being brought up in a digital world where they don't see the positives of having a physical, about actually owning your game. Growing up, we used to be able to have games, and then the idea to trade games or trade with friends or trade in for another game, that entire thing's lost. You go, my friends used to come over. I used to go over to friends' house, and we would bring a game with us, and we would all play there. If only one of us owned, Smash Brothers or Mario Kart, or even a game that no one had heard of, or only like Beetle Adventure Racing, only one person had it, so they would bring it over and we'd play it. That's gone, because with the digital, hold on, let me try to sign in, and I gotta make an account in your thing, and I get it's so much easier to just go cartridge done.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lost thing now. So many kids today have no social skills. They just know internet. They don't know how to. You put them in front of another human being and they freeze and they have no idea what to do.
And some of that I wonder too. It's like, you look at the parents, right? And the parents that are like you and I, when we're raising our sons when they're older, we're going to probably be more so instilling that like physical media, that content, like here's a cartridges, here's a disc, like really kind of building that mindset, right? But if you think about the folks that we might have gone to school with that were our age that maybe weren't gamers and didn't necessarily care, well, they're having kids now too. And oh, well, Minecraft is digital. Oh, you want to play that because your friends are playing digital? It just kind of creates this like vicious cycle of like, well, I wasn't a gamer growing up. I didn't collect physical cartridges or discs. So I don't really care, right? I just want my kid to play their game, right? So I think that too is kind of one of the bigger issues, is that from a, growing into adulthood, it's kind of stemmed from our generation moving up now.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it is post-internet, because beforehand, we grew up without the internet, but post-internet, it seems like society has moved towards instant gratification. Absolutely have to have that instant gratification. There's no earnings, there's no waiting. It's just boom, I want it and I want it now. And even if you get stuck in a game right now, what is the first thing you usually do? You pull up Google and you Google it and you usually find an answer on board and you get the instant gratification. You don't spend an hour or two trying to figure out the solution. You get it instantly and you move on because time is valuable. And we all do it for that reason. Well, people generally like digital for that reason because it's instant. Oh, I want to watch a movie. I could hit Netflix and here's all the movies and I just push a button. I don't have to get up. I don't have to put a disc in. They look at that as a chore, and I'm like, that what do you
That's
do
part
for
of a
food?
fun. Yeah.
Well, that's part of the fun, but what do you do when you get hungry? Do you just open your mouth and hope food flies in? Like, you need to get up, you need to go to the refrigerator, you need to get food, you need to make food. And even that with Grubhub and so many delivery, even that's becoming more instant gratification. It seems like if you ever seen the movie Wall-E, that future is more and more what we're going towards. And seeing kids like, oh, it's instant. I can just instantly get the song I want. I could instantly get the game I want. I could instantly watch the show I want. And with all the content that's out there now, and all the streaming services, and it's just insane. It's just
Yeah.
insane how much is there.
There's so much content out there, to your point, like being able to filter through types of digital content quickly versus going through a pile of games or pile of movies to decide what you want. And I can understand like where that mindset is coming from. But I do think it's funny. You had mentioned like the instant gratification. Well, if I'm downloading a game, I got to sit for it to download. I got to sit for the updates. I got to do all of this other stuff. Whereas a cartridge, I'm just like, pop, instant gratification. I'm playing Super Nintendo.
Yes, on older stuff, but even now, like
Yeah,
if you got a
it's true.
PS5 game and you put it in, you got to sit there and wait for it to install.
Yeah.
Even on physical. A lot of the games now do a pre-download where you could download it beforehand and it doesn't go live. So people who wanted to play Mario Wonder on Friday, for example, if they got the digital version, a lot of them were just sitting at their Switch waiting 12 o'clock, boom, I could hit the button instant. Versus if you got the physical, maybe you went to a GameStop for a midnight launch, you still had to get it and then you still had to drive home, then pop it in. There's no download, it's complete on cart. Or if you got it like on Amazon or Best Buy or Walmart or whatever, for delivery, it came Friday at 10 a.m. or 11 or 12 or whenever your delivery driver came. You didn't get that instant. And I don't think that's like, I don't mind the wait on certain things. Like, I think that actually builds the hype more because you're anticipating it. And I feel like if you get everything instantly, you don't value it, you don't appreciate it because it's just there. It's just there because, oh, I could just do another game, whatever. There's no attachment to it. Versus, oh, I had to wait. I had to wait through school. I had to wait through work for my copy to come. Oh, I got notification of delivery driver. I can't wait. When someone says, oh, I've been playing it since midnight. Great for you, but I haven't. And now that buildup, that extra buildup is it's just awesome.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you, man. Ryan, you were going to say something?
Yeah, one of my biggest things, and I mean, this is something we've seen for a while, and it's not necessarily just coming from like this change at like Walmart or Best Buy, but I mean, when they decided to stop releasing physical releases of games in special editions and deluxe editions and just give you a code, it's like you're getting the physical of everything except for the one thing that you really are there for. So it's like the whole production on the loss of game manuals, and then the loss of the games themselves. Like, you could still buy the box and it's just got a code in it, and then it's just like altogether gone and it'll just be an all digital future. Like, all of those little bits and pieces add up to create, like, in our minds, what is opening a game and playing a game and going to the store and buying a game. Like, it's all a part of that, save up your allowance ritual to get this great thing that you've been wanting for a long time. And it is a fact that a lot of that has been kind of taken out now.
Don't forget, when that nice fancy collector's edition, you get a beautiful steelbook for no game whatsoever.
Yeah, that too. That's always a funny thing in there. It almost feels like they need to kind of like parse these things out where you can kind of pick and choose the items that you want. And a lot of it too, and almost make it like to order, right? Because given also the bots and everything else it's tied in, like it also is ruining physical media to an extent. Like those collector's editions are a big part of, like, if I want to buy a game and I'm really invested, now I have to compete with bots and the secondary market and all this other crap that's tied to it. So I wish there was also other considerations that are being made here. And I wonder if that's part of like that death of physical media for some of these big box stores, right? Like the lack of people going in because they have these pre-orders and things that are happening. And now, the bots buy them physically, but nobody's going in store to do this now, because why am I going to go in store? It's not available to me in store to purchase. So those in-store sales are not what they used to be for things like that. So I wonder if, yeah, go on.
I was going to say, yeah, definitely. Obviously being able to buy online, and Amazon has hurt big box stores or any retail locations. But one thing I don't think a lot of people realize is, even if you're a digital gamer, I don't buy physical, I just want digital. The importance of having that choice is more than just the choice. If these big box stores stop carrying physical and the games go all digital, people say, well, digital should be cheaper. It's not going to be.
No.
The reason it is because they have a deal to have digital and physical be the same price. And this is the price that the physical is. But if there's no physical, if there's no Walmart saying like this has to be $70, or Best Buy saying this is $60, or whatever the price that it's got to be, those digital games, some might come down. Some might say, all right, well, now I'll lower it by 10. But why would they? If they're selling at 40, they're not going to say, well, we're just going to release it at 30. Games only go on sale when they're not selling. Instead, they can say, well, there's nothing keeping me at $40 because there's no physical, so I can make it $50 and see how it sells. And then I can always throw it down to $40. It's digital. It doesn't take up room.
Yeah.
And on top of that, it's like, well, where else are you going to get it?
Yeah,
right.
You got no choice.
Yeah.
You have a monopoly now. It's, if you want it on the Switch, it's on the eShop. If it's $70 on the eShop and you're complaining about it, you could wait for a sale, but that's your only option. Oh, and forget about buying it used. Forget about getting it secondhand. I'll see how people go like, oh, I want the digital PS5, and I'm like, why would you get the digital PS5 over the disc one? And like, well, I save $100 or only $50 with the Slim, but I save $100. I say, okay. So you save $100. So with the physical, you're $100 in the hole if you look at it that way. But you can now go to GameStop, yard sales, secondhand sale or second-hand stores or whatever, and buy PS4 and PS5 pre-owned games at stupid deals that you can't do with the digital. You're locked into whatever the digital price is. So
you make all that money up quick.
You make it up so quickly. If you go to a garage sale and someone says, "Oh, I got these PS4 games or PS5 games for $1 or $5 or whatever," and there's games you want, digitally they may be $20-$30. And here that $5. Okay, well you save so much money. Plus DVDs and Blu-rays.
Yeah. Well, then people will bring up the argument, well, I can go on PlayStation Plus, right? And I can have all my games there. But now you have a yearly subscription base that you're paying, right? So like at the same time, and how many of those games are you actually going to play on an annual basis? So I could buy, however many physical games in a year. Yeah, it might cost me $100. Yeah, I don't necessarily have access to all of these other titles, but I have a limit as to what I can and can't spend. If I go through the entire year and only play one PlayStation game because I'm busy, digitally, well, now I've spent $120 or whatever for like this massive setup on PlayStation or, whatever it is for Xbox Live, on a monthly basis. I'm paying this to play one or two games throughout the course of the year, or I could have picked up 5 or 6 games that I may play this year, may play 2 years down the road, but now I have them available to me.
And if you never want to play them, you could just get rid of them. You can actually make money off of them.
Yeah, you could just sell them. Yeah.
Or not only that,
somebody else.
But like PS Plus, if you cancel, you say, "Oh, I'm not really using it," you lose those games.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
So you don't really own them at all. You don't even have any ties to them. It's like Netflix. It's like canceling your Netflix subscription. You lose all access to all the Netflix shows.
Yep.
And it's like, that's great. Like Xbox used to at least let you keep the games for gold, but that's no longer the thing. You lose games for gold now too.
Yep.
It's like people have no interest in owning things anymore. It's like I don't know anybody that goes like, my dream is to rent a house or rent an
Yeah.
apartment. Do you want to own your house? No, I'd rather just rent it. Why wouldn't you want to own it? I want to rent all my cars. I never want to own it. I don't know anyone saying that. Why would you do that with any other media or anything?
Yeah,
It's
and
always better to own.
and there's always I think the leasing of a car sometimes could be up in the air in terms of cost, but like a house rental is, yeah, you don't have the cost when you're renting a house, but long term, you were still, paying somebody else's mortgage, right? And you're not locked into a certain price point, right? With a mortgage, whereas a rent could go up 20% in the next few years. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting that
You
people
don't have
just
security either.
no,
They could
yeah,
say, we want you out of here because my old uncle needs a place and I want to let him rent
Yeah.
here. So
yeah.
you have 3 months to vacate.
Yeah. Plus, on top of that, it's like, what are the prices now, right? You might have been locked in at 1,200, but and that landlord's like, yeah, I'll keep it at 1,200 for however long. But now you go into the general market, and it's, hey, you don't have a choice now, right? Because you're renting, you don't have the ability to do that, and now it's 1,600 for rent everywhere else. So,
Yeah.
so there's a lot of tie-ins, obviously, into ownership across the board, right? And as a society, how we've kind of gone away from that,
And you know what? When bringing this up, the people who are diehard digital will always point up. So I got to point up here to play devil's advocate. You don't actually own your games now. You still own the license, but in the same way, they could remove a digital game from the storefront very easily. They're not going to come knocking on your door and taking your physical card or your disc
Yeah.
and saying you can't play this anymore. They're not going to do it. And if a game doesn't have like a constant online, they can't do any type of thing to shut down a physical game. It will still play. No one, if any company suddenly acts that petty, they will be doomed. They know
Yeah.
it's stupid at that point. They might as well just let
Yeah.
people play. So while technically you don't own it, you just own the license. No one's touching that actual physical media that houses that game, so you're still fine. But I had to point it out there because I'm sure someone listening going who's a digital guy, well, you only don't really own it, you own the license. So there, I'm letting your voice be heard, and I'm telling you to shut up.
Man,
jeez. Well,
one thing I saw the other day that still just drives me nuts is like, I hate how you can rent like a digital movie on Amazon, and it's like, cool, you get it for one viewing and you have 48 hours to access it. Like, what the heck, man? Give me like a week, just period. Like, what do you lose if I watch it more than once?
Yeah, one viewing too.
It's
It's
so
like renting
ridiculous.
a Blockbuster when that was a thing. You had it for a weekend. You had 3 days. You could watch it as many times as you
Yeah.
wanted.
yeah.
It's insane. Like they try to hold so much ownership over this digital stuff, which is really meaningless. Like, once you have the money, like it should be, way more ubiquitous your access, but it just isn't, and it's not going to get any better.
Nope.
And I think that, like, really video games are probably the last bastion that people are really going to put up a fight for. Like, I know a lot of people out there buy DVDs and Blu-rays and stuff, but like, I mean, the amount of people who stream those versus the amount of people who buy them these days has to have gone hugely just towards the streaming side. Like, I can't imagine
Oh, yeah.
companies are really making that second, box office run numbers once the DVD comes out.
No, probably not. Like, I personally, like, the only time I ever like buy DVDs and Blu-rays is it's for content that I know is not going to be streamed out. It's like older
Mhm.
anime series that are just like hard to find, right? Like old ADV animes, for example, you're just not really finding those everywhere. So it's nice to have the physical piece there. For
Well,
that.
I still go for the new stuff too of the series. I like the MCU and the DC movies and stuff like that, and Star Wars, because I love those series. But who knows what they're going to do with those? I mean, Disney already said that they're going to stop doing Blu-rays in Australia. That's already a thing. So they're testing it. At the same time,
For Australians, targeted.
it's targeted. Well, at the same time, they just released Loki, the first season on Blu-ray, and they're doing WandaVision. Because right now, if Disney Plus were to go out and you wanted to show, like, I'm going to show my son the MCU, and I'm sure you want to show your son the MCU one day, you can't. You could watch physically, you could watch all the movies, but you can't watch the shows. Like, there's content on the Disney Plus shows that are canon. You're missing out. You can't.
Mhm.
You can't actually watch it all, and
Mhm.
that's sad. Like, this is going to be lost. So I'm glad they're finally starting to do that. But a lot of shows are streaming only, and then when they're pulled, They say, oh, like this is done. We don't want this anymore for cost cutting reasons. We're pulled it, and it was only streaming. There's no physical. You can't watch that show again. That show's lost to the aether, hoping that someone pirated it. I mean, some of the shows I'm getting from the collection, I had to go to like Etsy and find fan made DVDs because they were never released ever. And I want to preserve it. And it was my only option. I mean, I hate doing it. I would always prefer an official release, but it's better than nothing. And it's sad that we have to turn that way for some content so it's not lost. Like, I would rather give the company the money than someone on Etsy or someone on eBay who made it the money, because I'd rather it go to the studio, I'd rather go to the actors and the actresses and the writers and let them continue, say, oh, and show the studio, I like this, please make more of it.
Yeah, for sure. Totally agree with all those points, man. And I guess really the long story short here is for people to support physical when you can, because it's at the end of the day, we need that choice and we can't let that dissipate. So Barry, definitely appreciate you coming on today and talking about everything Premium Edition. As always, it's a blast to have you on, dude.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me. Love being here.
Of course. And you can find those Premium Edition games at premiumeditiongames.com for pre-order. And definitely get those mega packs if you want everything there. And Sunshine Manor is finally here. It's finally here, Barry. Yeah.
Finally, it's such a good game. Both of them are.
So Ryan, we're going to jump into our inflation deflation segment here in just a moment. And we'll be talking a little bit about House of the Dead 2 and 3. But Barry, thanks again. And we'll hope to have you on again pretty soon.
Anytime. Thanks so much for having me.
All right, man. Well, as always, it was good to have Barry on, but let's get into our inflation deflation challenge of the week. This week, we're talking House of the Dead 2 and 3 Return. This was developed by Sega, HIC. It was published by Sega, and it was released in March of 2008. It is a rail shooter with a reception of 6 to 7 out of 10. Do you want to cover a synopsis here for us?
Yeah, so thanks to the Wii and its motion controls, House of the Dead 2 and 3 are bundled together so that you can enjoy this gory zombie action right from your living room. House of the Dead 2 follows AMS Agent G's continued investigations into the Curian Manson incident from House of the Dead 1, and that trail leads him to Venice, where you will help shoot down zombies and see how you can help save the day. And then in House of the Dead 3, we pick up 21 years later as mankind has collapsed, and you travel to try to find all the last secrets and see if you can be the last person to save humanity. I mean, these are pretty straightforward arcade games. I think most people have played at least one of these games. I don't know anymore, but back in the day, I mean, this and what was it, Area 51 or something? Those were like the two games I always ran to first at the arcade.
Yeah, for me, it was House of the Dead, and it was Time Crisis, usually for me.
Is that the one with the pedal?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that one was cool too.
Yeah. And that's actually one that I have on the PlayStation 2. Ooh. So if we can ever get things kind of hooked up, I've got, 2 controllers for that, the two of the gun cons, and several games and so on. So, I mean, there's some opportunity there in the future for us to play those. But, just my experience of these, they're very straightforward, right? It's really a one button game in a sense. And with the motion control, the ability to kind of move, things around like you would in an arcade is pretty fantastic. So, I think to get like the real experience with this, like we played with not Joy-Con, we played with a Wiimote, right? And it's similar to the arcade setting in that, you're pointing at the screen, you're shooting certain enemies, but it doesn't have like that handgun feel or that, and this is where you kind of wish you had one of those like random peripherals that came out of a dollar
Wii
store.
Zapper.
Yeah, like just one of those. Like I think it would have benefited us to play with something of that nature.
Do you have Link's crossbow training?
I don't know. Probably
that came with one.
Did it? No, I mean, I don't have one of those. Not one of the. I don't have a zapper, but I have actually. Do I have one? I gotta check. I've picked things up in the past, and I mean, I might have one actually. I know I have a keytar sitting around somewhere, so I don't even know how I got that one. But yeah, I mean, I feel like this is a game that would have benefited by playing with a zapper. Personally.
Yeah, I mean, the last time I played this game was over at my friend's house on, I'm pretty sure his original Xbox, and I think he had a couple of gun cons for that. But I mean, yeah, that's what you want out of, any light gun rail shooter is, that experience of like tactily holding the thing and playing the game. But I mean, the Wii does a pretty serviceable job here. I mean, I didn't really ever think I had many rail shooter games for the Wii, but I mean, it was perfect for it to just be able to like sit down on the couch, point and shoot at some zombies, just flick your Wiimote quickly off screen to reload. I mean, the intro actually showed like setting up the gun con or the Wii Zapper, and you ran upstairs because you thought we would need the nunchuck. And I mean, it's a rail shooter. There's no aiming or turning or doing anything outside of just pointing at the screen. So it wasn't really necessary.
Well, see, the reason I went upstairs for the nunchuck is when it showed us like getting the thing together, it showed a nunchuck. And I'm like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I was like, what the heck? Like, that doesn't seem right. And I come downstairs and you're already playing. I'm like, well, I guess we didn't need it.
Well, a lot of gun cons back in the day, at least the one that I'm remembering in my mind, I think it did have like a single joystick, like where the hammer would be.
And that could be it. Maybe that was another way so you didn't have to flick it down. You could just kind of flick the hammer.
Maybe.
That might be what that was for, and we just obviously didn't utilize it.
Mm-hmm.
But so, outside of that, I think, graphics-wise, this is a game that if it holds up to the arcade, for sure. But graphically, that's not exactly like a big feat either, right? So
yeah, these games not known for their prowess in the graphics or voice department.
Yeah, on the voice department. So like the voicing on this is hilarious. Like there was one guy it was the woman. She's like, "Don't come," and then she's like, "Here's some light for helping me out." Or another guy was like, "I don't know how that happened." After he crashed his car.
They're all just so monotone. The little imp guy's crazy too with his crazy high-pitched voice.
It's pretty hilarious. So you're basically, when you buy these games, you're not buying it for the story. You're not buying it for the graphics. You're buying it for the overall gameplay. And so, for me, the gameplay was very true to the arcade. And I felt that I got that experience at home. And that's really ultimately like what you want with this game.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those that you're really going to benefit more from having some nostalgia for. Like, I don't really keep up with rail shooters, but I imagine that there's probably some, pretty good ones out today in comparison to what was done back then. But like, I don't really know that they bring those over. Like, I've seen the Jurassic Park one and stuff when I've been to some, arcades in the more recent years. But like, you don't really see a lot of like straight arcade port stuff to console, or maybe it's just not a genre and area that I'm really paying attention to. Could be.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen some weird ones at the arcade. Like I've seen a firefighter rail shooter where you're literally like, you hold a fire hose and you're like spraying fire. Like that one's pretty cool.
Is that the one where you're on like the elevator thing and it takes you up to like different levels?
I don't know that it had anything like that. Maybe there is a version that does that, but this one was a galloping ghost several years ago, and you literally just hold on to like what's a fire hose essentially. I also I think we have Resident Evil Dead Aim is one that we could technically play. And then I've also played a Silent Hill rail shooter, actually. That was I recall it being Silent Hill, but that was also a Galloping Ghost arcade years ago. And they were all fun. The games that I played there, the rail shooters, I've always enjoyed them. And as long as they're tweaked correctly and they're not messed up from people banging them around and stuff, and they actually hit their targets, rail shooters are a ton of fun. And I think when you look at something like the Wii with it being at home, you kind of get away from that idea of like, hey, does this actually work? Can two people play this game? Because like you're playing on a Wiimote and you're aiming at, your sensor bar. So you kind of get away from that whole like worry that somebody has broken the controls, things aren't working, and it's not calibrated correctly and all of that, because it frankly it is. And it's
the cost of quarters, because these games can be like pretty cheap feeling in the times that you get hit. And being able to reload fast enough or react fast enough, like the ability to replay these games over and over, especially because I'm pretty sure that they do have like multiple routes that you can go down. Like I distinctly remember there's a part before you go into this like mansion or facility, and you can fight like basically one of two bosses by going different directions. So being able to like go back and explore and, you know, get all of the experience out of these games from the comfort of your own couch with somebody else for, you know, just the price of the game, is probably pretty worth it. Although, you know, if it's not a game that you're really going to go back and revisit very much, I wonder what the breakdown in price would be between like the amount of quarters it would cost to finish this game versus what it would cost to buy it.
Yeah, I'm
Let me
not
do some math.
sure.
Keep talking.
Well, no, I mean, like in terms of like today's arcades, if you were to play this game, like if you went to say Fat Cats or like a Dave and Buster's, and you were like, hey, I'm going to get 20 credits, right? And I can play a game. Like this is a game that probably be like 2 or 3 credits right off the bat just to get like each round. So this could add up very quickly. I think honestly, it would be cheaper to actually purchase a complete in box version of this or even a loose copy over, doing it at the arcade.
So you
Now,
get
if you
about
were,
$15 in quarters to
yeah,
go through this game.
maybe more
That'd be
depending on how
doable.
good you are. Yeah, I mean, it's doable depending on how good you are. But that's factoring in if you're playing it on your own. Like playing it on your own, it's super difficult. Playing with a second person makes it much easier. So you figure a combination of people, let's just say $20 in quarters for 2 people, you know?
Yeah, that's more than the cost of the game.
So yeah, I mean that's factored in for sure. So let's I guess get into brass tacks here on the cost. So a complete in box copy right now will run you $18.50. That peaked at $30.63 in October, not October, that's April. That's April of 2022, and it's trending up right now. And then a loose copy right now will run you $14.95. That peaked at $25.39. That was in May of 2022, and that's trending down right now. At $18.50. Honestly, I like these games a lot. Would I say it's worth $20 roughly? I mean, it's dependent on the type of gamer you are. If you can bang one of these games out within like an hour or two,
Oh, definitely.
yeah, which you can, is it worth $20 to you? Maybe.
It's probably no more than like a 40-minute experience start to finish,
Yeah,
I would guess.
and it depends on like replayability, right? Like how much replayability are you getting out of this? Unless you're speed running it, which you really can't, or you're trying to get high scores.
Speed run probably, but yeah, it'd probably just be high score and exploring around, messing around with friends. Like I would cap this out at like $15 complete in box to call it a good deal. I think paying $20 is definitely a bit high for a Wii game, especially a Wii game that's just like a port of, some good but low quality arcade games. I definitely think that if it was like, House of the Dead 2 and 3 remade in like better graphics or something released on the Wii, maybe we'd be talking. But being that it's like a straight up port of like 90s games.
Well, that's something to consider too, though, is like you're getting both 2 and 3 on this. It's not like you're just getting 2.
Yeah.
So, I would say that could actually make it a little more worth it, because when you're playing at the arcade, sometimes you are only playing House of the Dead 2 or you're only playing House of the Dead 3. Mm-hmm. So think about the quarters that are needed for both of those games.
That's true. I guess you're saving on the full experience of both games, minus the experience of being in the arcade and having like the gun controller.
Well, I know, COVID and flu and all these other things. I mean, is it worth it, right? Going out there. And I will say, to go back on the speedrunning thing, you technically could speedrun this if you consider the boss battles.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So if you did hit the bosses like really quick, on point each time, you would actually technically be able to speedrun this.
That's true.
So I do think there's some replayability in that aspect, if that's the type of direction you want to go, or high scores and so on, or just playing with friends. For 2 games and getting that arcade experience at home, I could see this being worth $20 personally.
Okay. You talked me into it.
All right. So I think this one, let's call this one deflated. I think that, and given the peak at like people were willing to pay $30 just last year.
Yeah.
So, or early
at least somebody
year.
was.
At least somebody was, right? So yeah, I think this is definitely worth the $18.50. It still holds up, still good. Graphics are, decent, and the gameplay is pretty decent as well. So
yeah, it'll probably not go back down to the like, just over $10 average that it was in 2019. It'll probably be hanging out here around the $20 range for now.
or
So
going up.
probably finding it at 20 wouldn't be a bad deal considering where it'll probably go in the future.
Yeah, nice minty copy, $20 on the Nintendo Wii. I mean, Wii games will eventually go up. I mean, they already kind of are in certain aspects, but it's at a good price right now, and it's worth picking up. So our next game that we're going to play next week is going to be Home Sweet Home on the PlayStation 4. So getting ready for that one. That should be a good bit of fun.
Extra spooky.
Extra spooky. That'll be our closeout to spooky month is Home Sweet Home. So we're taking it home, Ryan. All right. Well, this has been episode 257 of the Game Deflators Podcast. My name's John.
I'm Ryan.
And thanks for listening.